It's been very competitive for the most part in this long-standing rivalry. Notre Vista has gotten the better end of them over the last couple meetings, but La Sierra used to be the team taking control of this series a short time ago. Squivel on second down is sacked. Loss of 5 against the La Sierra quarterback as Axel Vasquez. He was the first of 3 different players with a takeaway in the second half of Notre Vista's win last week against Hillcrest. And in that game, we saw on Riverside TV, the Trojans, it seemed to counter every scoring punch that Notre Vista and Eddie Elaine countered in the second half of that game until the defense with the takeaways really took control of that game.
Yeah, and it really could have gone either way. In fact, Hillcrest had a number of penalties that really worked against them. They had a 60-yard penalty, I believe, in one of the plays, and really cost them the ball game. But the defense, like you said, stepped up. Coach Andy Martinez and his staff got his guys prepared. And I'll tell you, when you get one guy with 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, that's huge, absolutely huge.
And that may be the interceptions that he created was against the best, I would say, if it's up for debate, Cameron Payne, the best passer in this conference. I mean, he has been sensational all year. We saw him in the opener, and Cameron Payne, who was hurt, we have our condolences out for that man as Hillcrest is underway tonight against your Ramona Rams in their building.
And we'll try to get some scores from the teams as the night goes on, but I'll tell you what, if you're Coach Gary Hedlund and you walked out of this first quarter only down 14-0, they held the ball for quite a bit of time. Notre Vista didn't have the ball that long.
Yep.
So you've got to say that is a minor victory if you're Coach Hedlund and his staff. So being down 14-0, pretty darn good considering the high-octane offense of the Braves.
Yeah, we saw Notre Vista a couple weeks ago go on a 26-play drive, and that is just common territory for them. I mean, this offense, I think it's impressive, one, to know that they can run the ball and move the line of scrimmage, but two, where a defense knows what's coming and they still can't stop it.
And I'll tell you what, Coach Ken Batdorf, I talked to quite a bit. You know, that game, the loss that they took to Temecula Valley, really was an eye-opener because they had to traverse 70-plus yards in the last 2 minutes. And that's one thing Ken Batdorf said he wants to work on the last 3 games of the year because they're going to have a tough games when they hit the CIF playoffs. So if the biggest problem they're going to have now is keeping those starters really fresh, because if they beat teams really bad, those starters aren't playing an entire game. So what do you do to counter that to keep them ready for the playoffs? You got to score quickly on offense, and I think that's what we're going to see Coach Ken Batdorf and his players. They're going to work on getting scoring quick and fast.
It's been pretty quick for Notre Vista. Braves up 14-0, but their defense will be tested as La Sierra faces 3rd and 9. 2 Eddie Elaine touchdown runs in the first quarter, and we head into the second with Notre Vista leading 14-0. Eagles already have 1 third down conversion in this game. Esquivel fires a seam route off the hands of Jara, incomplete.
Great play call, wide open. Just, I think, anticipated the hit before. Should have caught the ball first, then you would worry about the hit. A good pass from the young quarterback.
Yeah, Justin Esquivel in and out of the lineup with injuries, but he has 9 total touchdowns this year and nearly 1,000 yards all-purpose. Him returning to the lineup does wonders for this La Sierra offense, and we saw that performance last week for the Eagles against Tarupa Valley. 4th and 9. La Sierra brings out Darris, who will fake the punt. He sprints to the right, and he is drilled out of bounds by Oscar Godoy, who lost his helmet. La Sierra gambles down 14. Certainly can't question too much a coach who trusts his guys to go for it, but it does not pay off.
And you're kind of hoping that, I'm sure Coach Hedlund was hoping that he would catch them off guard. But Notre Vista seems to be very focused here tonight. Like I said, the toughest thing for Novi for these last 3 games before heading into the playoffs is to stay focused for the entire game. 48 minutes, you got to stay focused.
Yeah, tonight next week, the 25th, against Jurupa Valley, and the regular season finale on November 1st against the Patriot Warriors. 1st and 10. Gonzalez off play action, fires to his tight end, Emmanuel Rubio. He takes a tumble to the 25-yard line. A terrific catch in traffic for the tight end. 13 yards. First down, Notre Vista.
Well, if you can add a passing game to the Braves, they could be pretty hard to stop in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, if they can pass the ball against the Eagles, it's going to spread things out, and we're going to see more of the Elaine Train story here for the Braves.
Slotbacks are in the game now on this jumbo package. Gonzalez fakes the toss to Elaine and feeds to his fullback, Albert Gonzalez. And the senior, on just his third carry of the year, gains 10. First down, Notre Vista. And this may be a different wrinkle that they're just throwing in now. Ken Bettendorf throwing those play-action passes into the mix throughout this promising drive. From the 14, a toss to Carvajal, who then feeds on a sweep to Joseph Lucky. And this time he is spun down for a loss. Taken down by Eduardo Estrada, number 54.
Talking about Carvajal. Carvajal is one of those backs I really firmly believe is on par almost with Eddie Elaine. And I mean this. I think he's a power back. I think he would be a superstar for anyone. You have a two-headed monster, a lot like LaDale White. Remember the Thunder and Lightning at USC? He's more the LaDale White.
Oh, there's some lightning. Eddie Elaine, touchdown Notre Vista.
That's the Lightning, the Thunder. Carvajal.
Yeah. And that brings up an interesting dilemma. Jesse Carvajal, knowing coming into the year, because Elaine, he came into this team, and last year, just with his 1,500 yards rushing, he really put himself on the map right away. And kudos to Carvajal for taking that backup role, and when his number is called, being prepared to make big plays, as he has seemingly all season.
And it's really tough when you run that double wing offense, is that you have the Thunder and Light. You've got the power. You've got the athleticism, as we see Elaine, who's so quick. But I'll tell you, if you're a defensive line, you have to deal with these guys, this huge offensive line, and the pounding with your lead block of your quarterback, then your fullback, and then you have to deal with Eddie Elaine. That makes it tough for any defense to stop, let alone just the La Sierra Eagles tonight.
And with 10:28 to go in the second quarter, Notre Vista in our crisp and clear night, a primetime Friday affair in mid-October between the Braves and the Eagles. 72 degrees, some winds as well from the west, and what is an incredible matchup here tonight. The kickoff is muffed but taken on a hop by Randall, who is spilled at about the 20-yard line as the Eagles begin their next drive. Notre Vista, we saw in the previous drive, they were putting together some new play-action pass schemes and some new wrinkles in the play calling for head coach Ken Bettendorf, who's seen just about everything for Notre Vista. 26 years with this program as head coach. I mean, that's just an incredible run.
It's either an incredible run or he's incredibly dumb.
What?
I could barely be anywhere for 26 years. Let alone, I'm telling you, I have a hard time staying still for 26 minutes. He did it for 26 years. He's got mental problems. He's a great coach, a great teacher, but he's crazy.
This game is televised, man.
Oh, that's right. Ken Bettendorf is wonderful.
Oh, that's right.
He should be here another 26 years.
Don't get his niceness fooled. Ken Bettendorf, he's the real deal. I don't think he would hurt a fly.
No.
He is the nicest. And just his run for Notre Vista is incredible. The Braves, 10 wins or more for the last 10 years. That trip to the 2016 CIF Southern Section Championship game, where they lost in overtime to San Gorgonio. That's as close as you can get without winning it. And last year they, yet again, successful, went 9-3 overall, and had a playoff win as well.
Remember, they were in the CIF Finals in 2013 as well versus Citrus Hill. Lost that one, was a tough one, but have been in the semifinals 6 times, been in the quarterfinal
I'll do the math.
11
I'm
times.
dizzy.
Yeah, and outside of this streak right here, between Norco High School has made the playoffs 33 straight years. 33 straight years.
Whoa.
That is a CIF record. But Norte Vista under Ken Batdorf has made the playoffs. As we see here on the replay, let's see if call. Nope. Ball hit the floor.
Yeah, it looks forward pass. It hit the floor. That should be incomplete. Nathan Torres, number 44, the intended target.
A shovel. Was that a shovel pass?
Yeah, something like
Something.
that. But good job with the guys up in the truck at Riverside TV for being on top of that. The officials, unfortunately, don't get the advantages we do with those replays and those other angles as Esquivel completes the pass on a crossing pattern to Nathan Torres. And the tight end on third down gains 10, or rather 11 yards. First down, La Sierra.
Yeah, just think of this. 26 years at the helm. Can you name the last president?
First of all, I wasn't born 26 years ago.
That's true. How old are you?
Yeah. Oh, no. Truth disclosure,
Yeah, I wanna
24
know.
years old.
Oh, you're just a little kid.
Just a baby.
I was born more than 26 years
Yeah,
ago.
I'm worried about, girls and college and stuff like that. And Gary Hedlund's worried and Gary Hedlund's out here worried about, probably he's seen kids that are twice my age play for him when he first got started. That's incredible.
Ken Batdorf probably has great grandchildren that he has coached.
Okay, let's slow down, all right? You made your point, all right, Jeff? You made your point.
He's coached 4 generations here.
That is nuts. That's Vince Carter type stuff, man.
Yeah, he's had a dad be all CIF. He's had a son be all CIF, and I'm sure there's a grandson in there. But no, true story. He's had 2 father-son duo that were both all CIF.
Esquivel pumps, and he goes deep. He's got Jara, and the pass is caught by Jara at the 50-yard line. That may be the play of the first half as Esquivel goes for the deep ball, and Jara, the wide receiver, makes a sensational catch.
Yeah, great play there. Great play call. Great pass.
Let's take a look at that. Esquivel, he had some heat towards his right side. And the coverage was from Wilson. Jareth had the pass right in the breadbasket. Esquivel now looks towards Jara again and fires over the middle. This time Wilson makes the play for Norte Vista, jarring the ball away from Jara. Incomplete.
Yeah, Wilson was the victim on that last pass and became the shark on that one, as he was the true predator on the big-time tackle there to unhinge him.
He was Humberto Jara yet again the intended target. This may get lost in the first half because the Eagles are down by 3 scores, but Jara, he's quite the athlete and is just a sophomore. Esquivel's pressure, but he shovels the ball inside, and one of the linemen reeled it in. Seth Morgan, who was hurt in the first quarter, somehow came up with that football, and he gains a couple on third down.
6'2", 315 pounds.
Yeah, what just happened there? They ran a tunnel screen to Torres, and there's the big fella. And there are 5 Braves hats.
That's like 5 Braves
Yeah.
attacking a Kodiak bear in Alaska right there.
And kudos to Seth Morgan, who knew what to do with it, too. And there's one of the La Sierra Eagles who never hits the sideline, seemingly, their defensive tackle and also their right guard. So after Morgan gains 3 yards, Esquivel gets rid of it again. The pass is off the fingertips of Jara, but tougher of a catch that time. Incomplete. Joseph Lucky on the coverage for Norte Vista. 3 rushing touchdowns we have seen today by the Braves. Running back Eddie Elaine, Eagles looking to respond. Jara made a fine catch earlier in the drive, but couldn't reel it in on that play, setting up 4th and 8, short 8. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorham, early second quarter, Notre Vista leads 21-0. They'll go for it, will the Eagles again. La Sierra 0 for 2 on 4th down so far in the first half. 3-man rush. Randall makes the catch at the 20 and is spun down to the 15-yard line. C.J. Richardson makes the stop.
Another great play there from Esquivel. A perfect pass, a dime down the sideline as it's, like you said, perfectly thrown.
Now, Notre Vista secondary has been sensational this year, as we saw with the interceptions, 2 of them last week. Esquivel fires the slant leaping catch for Jara at the 10, and he takes a tumble to the 9-yard line. Another terrific throw from Esquivel, who is having one of his best drives of league play right now, brewing his La Sierra inside the red zone. We see Jesse Carvajal, number 23, sprint on for the Braves defense, as this La Sierra possession began at their own 21-yard line. We saw a 25-yard throw from Esquivel to Jara begin this possession on 3rd down, and the quarterback moving the chains on 4th, and most of those tosses to Jara has been solid so far.
Well, Coach Ken Batdorf called timeout. Saw something that he didn't like, or just wants to talk to his guys and say, hey, secondary, wake up.
Yeah.
Because they have tested the secondary and done a good job. But you know what it is? It's October again, and you know what that means? I love to talk about it. No, it means it's Halloween time.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Saturday, October 26th. Get those little kids in their costumes. My sons are going to be Tiger Woods and a ninja. The older boy refuses, which I will have to disown him for it. But bring your costume and head to White Park.
He can join us
in downtown Riverside for Halloween Fest between 2 and 10 p.m. There's a Halloween costume contest for both kids and adults. Haunted Trail Kids Zones, crafts, food, and beer garden. It's only $10 for adults and free for kids 14 and under. Saturday, October 26th, 2 to 10 p.m. at White Park.
Nicely done. Are you out of breath?
I am.
All right.
I'm excited for Halloween, though. I love candy.
Who isn't? Esquivel sends it towards Jara again, who makes the catch, and is tackled by Jesus Gonzalez about a yard short of the first down, setting up 3rd and short. What was lost during that Halloween read is Notre Vista head coach Ken Batdorf. All right, that may be one of the first times I've seen him raise his voice in complete frustration. I mean, does he know the Braves are up 21-0 in this game?
He's a perfectionist. Like I said, he's really gearing towards playoff mentality. We're seeing his play calling. They've gone no huddle a few times, which is totally different than we've seen from a Ken Batdorf team, changing up his offensive series.
Methodical drive for La Sierra. And we've got a flag thrown with 6:14 to go in the second quarter, and that hurts. 5-yard loss for a false start. So La Sierra comes in this game as underdogs. They're 2-5 overall and have lost their first 2 River Valley League games to the likes of Patriot and Jurupa Valley. Meanwhile, Notre Vista, fresh off an emotional win against Hillcrest, comes in 2-0 the league and have won 6 of 7 to start the season. Their lone loss 16-12 to the Golden Bears of Temecula Valley. And Temecula Valley High School is looking very good, 5-2 to start the season. 3rd down and 6 for La Sierra in the red zone. 4-man rush. Esquivel looks and fires into the end zone, and Christian Gerardo makes the play again. He has intercepted Esquivel in the end zone.
3 interceptions in 2 games for that young man. In fact, he was the Inland Sports Play of the Week this week on Wednesday on our show with Pep Fernandez. A great defensive player as we've seen these last 2 games, and that was a big-time save which would have been a touchdown. So another interception there for Gerardo.
Esquivel had, with just 4 interceptions thrown in 7 games, he had been the model of efficiency. He intended Humberto Ojara, not a bad decision. He has been the top target seemingly all year for the Eagles, but it was just a step late. Gonzalez on a bootleg fires towards the sideline and overthrows number 16, Isaac Gaines. Incomplete. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Notre Vista and their playoff scenarios. Currently, the Braves are slated 4th in Division 10 standings. They're sitting there in the likes of Segerstrom, Crescentia, who are both 7-0, and the 6-1 Western Pioneers. They're right up there towards the top of the Division 10 standings as we see Elaine take off. Here he is towards the sideline with a straight arm at the 30, and Elaine is dropped at the 38-yard line. David Campos made the stop, saving a touchdown for Elaine as he gallops over the century mark in rushing today on that dazzling run. They'll go back to the ground. Eddie Elaine. The one on the chase for La Sierra was Chris Darris, and he didn't have a chance. Number 1, Eddie Elaine. He was the leading rusher among freshmen, and not just on the team, not just in the conference, but in the CIF Southern section. And he has just improved over the course of his sophomore year.
Named one of the top 50 sophomores in the entire country earlier this year.
Just an incredible young player who's growing up before our eyes. Salcedo drills the extra point. Over 100 yards for the 4th game this year. He may go over 200 yards for the first time since week 1. But Eddie Elaine, whether he gets 5 carries or 20 carries, we take a look at this scoring drive. He was the capper of it. But Eddie Elaine really, throughout this possession, La Sierra had very little options to bring him down. He just is so tough to tackle. There was an 18-yard burst, and on the next play, straight ahead run, Elaine makes a move, makes a second. Those are the type of moves we saw Terrell Davis make for the Broncos. He'll make a decision, cut, and go.
Terrell Davis. I took a couple classes with him.
Yeah, he's an inland guy.
Yeah, in fact, he lived out by you in Temecula. He was taking a class at Cal Baptist, and Terrell Davis and I, have mentioned before, became buddies. And I think I cheated off him, or he cheated off me on a couple papers. But no, Terrell Davis.
I think you're a teacher, Jeff.
No, I don't want to ever say that. I was a wonderful guy with Terrell Davis, but
yes, you were.
We had a class together and learned a lot from him. Became pretty good friends with him. Now he was the coach at Rancho Christian for a while, but decided to give it up. I think he's working for the NFL Network now, so he's moved on.
Oh man. But, that's the funny thing. You never get rid of that football diet. And that's been the case with both of these coaches, because they come from a family tree of coaches before them and most likely after them as well. I mean, when you interview Gary Hedlund, the head coach of La Sierra this week, he mentioned his dad was part of that long line of Hedlund football coaches. As we see Randall on the run here for La Sierra, he gains 5. And it's a similar story for Ken Battendorf, too.
Yeah, Ken Battendorf started his coaching career in Orange County, but locally was the JV coach at Centennial High School with Matt Logan, who was not the head coach at the time. And Matt Logan went on to become the leader of the Sith Empire of Corona Centennial. And then Ken Battendorf, after there, came over here and has been here, like I said, for 26 years, over a quarter of a century.
Wow. Receiver end around to Brandon Vo of La Sierra, and with Micah Gaines stopping him in his tracks, Brandon Vo loses, looks about 5. And now La Sierra wipes out that first down yardage for Randall. There's a look at the play. Randall tosses to Brandon Vo. There's the first time he has touched the football tonight He had some blocking up front, but it's pretty hard to get through the arms of Micah Gaines as he tried there. Third and 10. Eagles had 3 first downs on a promising drive the last time out, but Esquivel threw an end zone interception to Christian Gerardo. Esquivel scrambles towards the sideline, and the quarterback will be short of the first down, escorted with Carvajal, and what looked like could have been a late hit. No flag has been thrown as the quarterback gains 5. And Justin Esquivel, he's got a rare, one of the few quarterbacks in this league where he has a very talented scrambling ability, but also is a solid pocket passer. He gained 5 there. Monte Vista, strong start, 28-0. It's a similar story for you too, Jeff. I mean, you would think after your playing days in basketball and your coaching days as well at Riverside College that you'd be done with sports. You've been doing it your whole life, and this is it. But here you are.
Covering.
Still getting that weekly thirst of high school sports.
I love high school football more than anything, and I really enjoy covering all these games for Riverside TV, and my 4th year doing it. And I'll tell you what, it's a great way for the community to really kind of follow these teams through Riverside TV, and it's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year. And then we get into basketball, and then we start the baseball season.
Yeah.
So Riverside TV there all the way.
And soccer.
We do it all here. Cover the colleges, UC Riverside, RCC football, which will be back next week when they battle Golden West. We've had a little hiatus from RCC football the last few weeks, but looking forward to seeing them. We're going to have a couple players on the Coach's Perspective show next Monday. We're going to have a couple RCC football players.
Do you know who?
I do, but it's not confirmed yet.
Okay. And
two of their favorites, 2 of our favorites. I think it probably will be a quarterback and a defensive player. But we're going to have them versus Golden. Yeah, we're going to have them versus Golden West, and then we're going to have a great one next week, North Orange Vista. That's going to be
that'll be good.
That'll be a great one. The Zomalts.
And with that, we could look at the Inland Valley standings after this play. The throw towards Gonzalez, the quarterback, who slips right through the defense, and he will outrun the Eagles' Alex Perez to the end zone. Gonzalez, the quarterback, touchdown, Notre Vista.
A little trick play.
And that's what we came to see tonight, Jeff.
I love trick plays. Hillcrest up 28-7 at half over Ramona.
Oh man. And truth be told, that's the alma mater of our terrific Jeff Gorham.
Ram High will make a comeback. I feel it. Feel it in my bones.
Yeah, we're not writing anything down yet. Far from over. But kudos to the Trojans to come back off of an emotional loss. Because football is a very interesting game. I mean, 1 week can decide your season, and 1 week can decide the mood in a locker room. Let's take a look at that incredible play. Toss to Elaine, the quarterback, and then hands on a receiver end around to Buddy Wilson, the wide receiver, and he launches a beauty. 78-yard touchdown pass to the quarterback, Daniel Gonzalez. We've seen just about everything for tonight's game. Ken Batdorf, we've poked and prodded this head coach for Notre Vista. Why doesn't he throw the ball more?
And as he told me, an aerial circus he was going to throw tonight.
Aerial circus?
Yeah, I don't know if we could actually say that, because they do run the ball quite a bit, and that's a little overstated there, Ken.
Hey, the circus part on that play, I'll give him that. That was something good. Brandon Vo returns from the 9-yard line, and he makes a move at the 30. Brandon Vo, a solid return. It's a 24-yard run back for the La Sierra junior receiver, Brandon Vo. 5'6", 135 pounds, Brandon Vo, with that visor on. Very rarely do you see the high school athletes bringing on the visors and the shooting sleeves and the gloves. as Brandon Vo has.
Yeah, I don't understand the sleeves and all that stuff. Maybe, I mean, if you're on turf, I understand it, but grass, come on. It's a grass field. No sleeves, little grass, some little injuries, little scrapes.
Well, hard to fault him after that excellent effort on special teams. A good return sets up solid field position as we see Devin Coleman check in as the wide receiver, joining Humberto Jara. La Sierra has over 100 yards today, searching for their first scoring drive, and this handoff is going nowhere fast. Oscar Godoy makes the stop for Notre Vista of the short yardage run from Ethan Araujo. We came into this game tonight with Notre Vista beating the other two teams atop the River Valley League. They had knocked out Hillcrest last week, beat Ramona. So Notre Vista is 2-0 in the conference. 4 teams are 1-1. And the only team yet to have a conference victory are these La Sierra Eagles. So Notre Vista came in knowing that they had an edge, and they have really performed very well in the first half of this football game. We see Esquivel go deep towards Jara again, underthrown, but Jara adjusts and makes the catch. 18 yards, first down, La Sierra.
Well, they've been great through the air tonight.
That could have been by design, the pass a bit underthrown, but Esquivel fakes the pass short. And Buddy Wilson thought that ball was going longer. Jara does an incredible job as a receiver. You're taught to catch the ball at its highest point, and Jara yet again makes another big play. Jet sweep to Jara. He's smoked for a big loss. That may just wipe them out on this drive. Loss of 9, Gerardo on the stop, number 5. And
a very clean half so far from both teams. Not a lot of laundry being thrown on the field.
Oh, you had to say that.
Of course. Let's see if I jinxed us.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But La Sierra, I mean, with all of the kudos to the fact that they're able to overcome quite a few of these second and third and long scenarios. They've been off schedule quite a bit tonight, but the connection of Esquivel to Jara, a popular one, has gotten them out of the jams they've had in the first half. Esquivel's pressured and is dumped quickly. Tony Valdez records his second sack of the year, number 18, and on the Notre Vista stop. And up 35-0. We may have. Do we have a timeout here? And the Braves scores have come all. Yes, a timeout called by Ken Battendorf. All 5 touchdowns have been, 4 rather, from their running back, Eddie Elaine, the other tailback. And Buddy Wilson launched the touchdown to Daniel Gonzalez, the quarterback, on the previous possession. For a team in the Braves that control their own destiny for a playoff spot and also for what they hope to be a first seed. And you've said that's huge towards their success, potentially in the playoffs.
Yeah, right now you're playing for, like you said, seeding. It's very important because you'll play the top seed will play the lowest seed, and then vice versa. So they have a chance. You really want to get as high as you possibly can. You want to get a 1 or a 2 seed if you're Coach Ken Battendorf and the Braves.
And they've certainly taken care of business thus far tonight. The Braves currently slated 4th in Division 10 football with nearly 100 teams in Division 10. It's a pretty good mark for Notre Vista. And to me, I think which will certainly help their chances towards a top seed is that the Braves lost earlier in the year and they came back in a big way. I mean, their conference run has been just magnificent. 43-7 against Ramona. Of course, close against Hillcrest. But here, 35-0 against La Sierra. These are some good football teams that they're blowing out so far. Esquivel is pressured, and Jesse Carvajal stops him in his tracks and makes the play for Notre Vista. It's his 5th sack of the year.
Yeah, and those defensive ends are just coming from both sides. Esquivel has nowhere to go, no time to throw it, and they're trying to throw the football.
Yeah, hard to throw, and the defense knows you're going to throw. It appears that the Eagles may bring out the punt team. Meanwhile, last year this league included 4 playoff teams: Norte Vista, Ramona, Hillcrest, and Patriot. And as we look at this conference, we could have 4 teams again. Do you think so? It's tough to tell.
Well, definitely could get 4 just because you have so many different divisions from these teams. And it looks like La Sierra is going to take the penalty and then just sit on this and go into halftime. Pretty smart move by Coach Hedlund.
Yeah, certainly. The Braves are capable of calling a timeout here and getting the ball back and trying to do something with it. But Norte Vista will let the clock run. 4 touchdown carries and over 100 yards from star sophomore, the Elaine train, Eddie Elaine. Then the scoring throw of 78 yards from Buddy Wilson to quarterback Daniel Gonzalez gave Norte Vista the 5-score lead. And we'll stop the clock with 3.5 seconds to go in the first half. It should be noted that Norte Vista does receive the ball to begin the second half. And the Braves, I'm sure, with Ken Bettendorf, they'll keep the starters in to start the second. They'd like nothing more than to come out into the third quarter and play like they did to begin this game, because they need to stay fresh for what they hope is a playoff run. Darris on the final snap, barring a penalty of the first half. His punt soars, and that'll certainly help his statistics. Wow, what a punt. 55 yards. And that is down at the 25. First half complete, Norte Vista up 35-0, but the Eagles can take away 100 and some odd yards of offense. Jara played well. Their quarterback also really picked apart that defense for long stretches, but they just couldn't get that scoring drive in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, I thought La Sierra played very well offensively, but defensively it's really tough when you got that huge offensive line and great running backs. It will be difficult here for La Sierra here in the second half, but played very well that last quarter, I thought.
Well, when we come back, we'll take a look at the standings of this conference along with the other one, the Inglin Valley, that will be on display throughout the course of the year, including tomorrow when Pauley takes on Lakeside. La Sierra down at the half to the Braves, 35-0. Norte Vista will return to start the third quarter. Also, halftime highlights are coming up next. This is the Riverside TV Game of the Week. The Braves up 35-0.
The Community Police Review Commission was created to promote public confidence in the professionalism and accountability of the City of Riverside's Police Department. The commission consists of an all-civilian panel of members from across the city. The commission's roles include advising the mayor and city council on all police relations issues, reviewing and investigating officer-involved deaths, receiving complaints, and conducting hearings on misconduct against sworn Riverside police officers, making policy suggestions, and bringing community concerns to the attention of the Riverside Police Department. If you're interested in learning more about how you can serve or for information on the commission, visit riversideca.gov/CPRC.
Here in California, citrus is a part of our lives every day. But what if it all just disappeared? A devastating plant disease called Huanglongbing, or HLB, spread by the Asian citrus psyllid, is fatal for citrus trees, and it might be found in your own backyard. That's why it's important that we all do our part to keep California's citrus safe. Don't let California's citrus disappear. Visit CaliforniaCitrusThreat.org to learn more.
Got junk too big for the trash can? Then call 311 to schedule a bulky item pickup. Riverside residents get 2 free pickups a year, but you gotta follow 3 simple rules. Bulky items must be curbside by 5:30 a.m. the day of your pickup, light enough for 2 people to lift, and the total volume can't be larger than 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. If you got a lot of junk, check out our bulky item and e-waste drop-off events held several times each year. Bulky item pickup. Call us today and we'll haul it away.
I'm a police officer pilot. I've been with the city for a little over 10 years. I've always loved aviation and I've always loved law enforcement, so to be able to combine the two together, two of the things that I love the most. I've got experience and a background in law enforcement, so to couple that with aviation and fly every day and still do police work, that's why I'm out here. Work day shift 7 to 5. I usually get here a little before 7. We'll get an email on what occurred the previous evening, so I'll go through those. I'll also check temporary flight restrictions, so I'll check those and see if there's any in the area that we can't fly into. And then we'll go out and do a pre-flight on the helicopter. We'll walk around, check everything, make sure everything's functioning properly. And sometimes we're up for patrol. Other times when we're here on the ground, we'll respond to an incident. If a vehicle pursuit or a foot pursuit or something goes out, we'll launch for that. If there's a fire in the river bottom, we'll go up and provide air support for the firemen on the ground. Code enforcement uses us for their green pool flights, so we'll go up and we'll look for green pools. We're assisting a lot of different departments. I'm a 4th generation Riverside resident out of 5 generations now. My family has set roots here back in the 1900s, and I've got a connection to Riverside, so family and friends are here, and it's nice to give back to a community that you've been brought up in. So, if I were to describe my job in 2 words, it would be uniquely awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. I get to fly a helicopter and do something that I really enjoy doing. At the same time, protecting and serving a community that I grew up in. So.
Los Novillos is a Mexican market located on Main Street, not far from downtown Riverside. The name means young male bull, which is typically used for its high-quality meat. Alberto Murillo is the owner.
Been in the business for years and years, almost 20 years in the city of Riverside. And always, since I started working, I always dreamed like one day I'll have my own business. And since I'm being in Riverside for so many years, I said, well, this is a good opportunity. So I asked a couple friends, and my brother, hey, this is the opportunity of our life. Do we take it or not? And they're like, yes, go for it.
The store features a good selection of fruits, vegetables, canned goods, meats, and seafood. There's also several kinds of cheese, salsa, and guacamole. Loyal customers who shop here say it's because of their fresh food and great customer service.
I hike at Mount Rubidoux, and I go here every morning to buy fresh ceviche. It's a great market, and they're just gonna get bigger and better, so come shop here.
Usually I'll come in here to buy lunch, but if I need anything for my house, any supplemental groceries, I come in here and I buy everything. Everything's fresh.
Alberto says he trains his staff to treat customers like family. Mercedes Duran is one of his cashiers.
Just asking with how are you doing, that makes a really big difference. And just being in a small market, you kind of notice who's who and what are they doing. Sometimes we'll even ask them, like, what are you cooking today? Are you doing spaghetti? Are you doing carne asada? Or, that makes a difference, yeah.
I wanted the people, when they came, I wanted to feel like welcome, like, oh, this is my house, like this is family. And that's what I wanted to tell all my customers, that they're not just customers, they're guests for me. They're guests, they're my guests, they're my family all the time. When they came, if I know their names, I tell them about their names and everything. I shake hands all day long, and I think they like it.
My name's Lovey Jung, and I work for the City of Riverside Fire Department. I've been here for about 7 years now, and I'm a firefighter paramedic on Engine 1. When I was younger, I actually wanted to be a firefighter, but I ended up getting sidetracked and went and played softball for the Olympic team in 2004 and 2008, and when I retired in 2009, that's when I decided I wanted to switch over to become a firefighter. Usually when I come in, the first thing I do is I check my personal protective equipment, and then I'll also check the medical equipment. Being a paramedic, I have to make sure all my medications are there and that my equipment's working properly so that when we go on a scene to a medical aid, that everything's in working form and that we're professional on scene. If I were to describe my job in one word, it would be adventurous. Every day is different from day to day, depending on the training or the type of calls that we run. You know, some days we might go on more DUIs, or some days we might go on more traffic accidents. So every day that I come to work is going to be completely different from the day before and the next day. I get to work with a group of people that I enjoy working with and having that camaraderie that I missed from being an athlete. But now, being a mom, I want to be that role model for my daughter to show her you can be independent and you can have a job that you want to work in, whether it's a male-dominated career or not, and I want her to understand that as she grows up.
We need to make sure our seniors are safe with consistent, proper nutrition and healthy foods delivered to their homes.
Elderly patients who do not have proper nutrition have a higher risk of irregular heart rhythms and sepsis.
Riverside's Meals on Wheels program can always use your help. If you can volunteer or donate, you can visit our website and get more information how you can participate, and we thank you.
Do you have unneeded prescription medications and don't know what to do with them? CVS Pharmacy and the Riverside Police Department have a safe and secure drop box located inside the Magnolia Police Station. This free and anonymous service keeps dangerous prescriptions out of the hands of children and abusers while protecting the environment through proper disposal. Most over-the-counter and prescription medications are safe to drop off. However, there are some restrictions. Items such as thermometers, inhalers, aerosol cans, ointments, lotions, or liquids, and needles and sharps must be disposed of elsewhere. And please, residential clients only. This service is not for businesses to dispose of their medical waste. Help the City of Riverside keep dangerous prescriptions out of the hands of children and abusers by disposing your unneeded drugs in a safe, secure, and environmentally friendly way. You might have noticed new traffic lights popping up around Riverside, and the Public Works Department wants you to see how they work. First of all, you'll notice the new left turn signals consist of 4 lights: a red arrow, a solid yellow arrow, a flashing yellow arrow, and a green arrow. So how does traffic flow work with these new signals? First, we have the left green arrow, which indicates you have permission to turn left, but oncoming traffic must stop. A solid yellow arrow indicates that the light is about to turn red, and you must be prepared to stop, or if you're already in the intersection, complete your turn when safe. A solid red arrow means you must stop. No left-hand turns are allowed. When the signal changes to a flashing yellow arrow, turns are still permitted. However, you must yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before proceeding with your turn. These new signals are being introduced nationwide and represent a safer and more efficient way to handle left-turn traffic at busy intersections. The City of Riverside encourages you to learn more about these new traffic signals, and if you have questions, call 311, Riverside's one-stop shop for answers. The City of Riverside has launched Riverside Alert, a mass notification service that allows emergency crews to alert you in the case of an emergency, potential hazard, or safety concern that may directly affect you. When you sign up, you'll receive a message on the voice or text communication method of your choosing. Here's how it works. Begin by creating an account on riversidealert.com. Once you've entered your information, you'll be listed to receive alerts. All information you provide will be kept strictly confidential. Riverside Alert allows you to confirm that you've received an alert to prevent the same alert from coming through again. You can also choose to receive notifications about events that may affect you or your loved one's workplace, home, school, and more. Go to riversidealert.com and sign up today.
The ones you see on the racks here and stuff are personal, and I take a long time doing it, make sure, there's lathe work and other stuff in there, and it's not just bandsaw cutting out and whatever. These things, it takes 3 or 4 days at a time to make one, and with the train it took probably a week. People say, you can sell these. You go on eBay or whatever and sell them. And no, that'd be like work. I'm retired, When I was in Fleetwood, they had a charity called Rosie's Kids. And they used to do little fundraisers and stuff all year long to get enough money to buy clothing and food and stuff at Christmas time. And so I thought, I suggested, well, maybe you could throw a toy in it too, for the kids. One year we ended up with over 600 toys, and we gained somewhere 5,000 or more. I forget exact figure, but we helped a whole bunch of kids, families and stuff. I've been giving out toys for kids and charities and stuff for years, and I know when I was a kid, I had a stick, I grew up in the Depression, so in Brooklyn. And that was tough, and I can remember that, and I didn't have anything, so I want to make sure that almost any kid I see, I give a toy. I do this sort of on the side to give to kids and see what their reactions are. And I always tell them there's no batteries because they're always playing with the electronics. And tell them that it's going to cost them a smile and a thank you, and I always get it. I just enjoy doing it. I just like to see the kids light up. That's it.
Welcome back on the campus of Notre Vista High School at Zach Erp Stadium. Eddie Allain had one of his greatest first-half performances this season. The sophomore running back scores 4 first-half rushing touchdowns. That was the first. He got a good block from his quarterback, Daniel Gonzalez, outrunning Brandon Vo of La Sierra on the second. At the moment, this was 14-0. That was the score at the end of one. Allain strolls in from 12 to pick up his third early in the second quarter. La Sierra engineered an impressive drive from their own 22 to the Notre Vista red zone. However, this interception from Gerardo in the back line, a very common theme throughout league play, as Gerardo has 3 interceptions throughout 3 conference games for Notre Vista. That sets up the Allain scoring scamper as he outruns Darris and extends the lead to 28-0. Then this dazzling 78-yard throw on a receiver toss from Buddy Wilson to Daniel Gonzalez gives Notre Vista a 35-0 lead at the end of the first half. All right, the Braves racked up over 300 yards, Jeff, in the first 2 quarters of this game. Allain was integral, but it really was a team effort, especially down the stretch for that Braves offense.
Well, that Braves offense definitely was high octane tonight. You know, you watched Ken Batdorf really change up his plays. He went no huddle at times, would go 2-3 plays at a shot before changing it up. Very different look by the Braves tonight. I'll tell you what, offensively for the Eagles in that second quarter, they looked pretty darn good throwing the ball through the air. And if you're Coach Gary Hedlund, you probably told your guys at halftime, hey, we did some really good things out there. Continue to do so, build upon those things, and see if we can get back into this ball game.
And at the half, the score is 35-0. Now, La Sierra, as you mentioned, that was a pretty solid effort on offense, especially with the connection of Justin Esquivel to their wide receiver, Humberto Jara. That may have been one of the better first halves for this passing game that the Eagles manufactured. They just couldn't seem to find the end zone. They were aggressive in the red zone. They went for it. 1 for 4 on 4th downs in the first 2 quarters of this game. There are some positive takeaways for veteran head coach Gary Hedlund.
Yeah, Gary Hedlund is doing a very good job. He's got a very small team. You look at him. But I'll tell you, that second quarter, they did an outstanding job through the air attacking that secondary of the Braves.
And in just a moment, we'll give you halftime and third quarter scores across the River Valley League, along with the Inland Valley with the game underway tonight. As we head into the third, Notre Vista leads 35-7. One of 3 games underway out of this conference tonight. And this could be one of the most integral weeks towards determining playoff positioning for these teams. 4 clubs out of this conference made the playoffs last year. And it'd be tough if La Sierra does not come back and win this game for them to advance to the postseason. They were a half game out coming in today. Here's Joseph Lucky. Not much on the ground, touching the ball the first half, but Lucky is involved with an excellent 34-yard kickoff return for Notre Vista. The Braves begin their opening third quarter drive at the 50.
Let's see if the Braves continue to go no huddle here, calling a couple plays at a time, changing it up. The rhythm of this game. As the ball will be directly on the 50-yard line.
First down and 10 for Notre Vista. As mentioned, over 300 yards all-purpose for this Braves offense in the first half, along with 5 scoring drives. 4 touchdowns from Allain and a touchdown catch from quarterback Daniel Gonzalez. Here's Allain straight ahead, and he gallops for 10. First down, Notre Vista. So the Braves, of course, lead 35-0 here. The 2 other games out of the league, Hillcrest up by 35 as well, 42-7 over the Ramona Rams on the road. And Patriots over Jurupa Valley 9-7. Warriors are 2 quarters away from a 2-1 league start and a 4-4 record overall. As Gonzalez' pass on first down is complete again to the tight end, Emmanuel Rubio. It's his second catch of the ball game, and a first down for Notre Vista.
It's an aerial circus.
Sure is.
Throwing the ball, Ken Batdorf.
What's gotten into him so far today?
Well, if you're going to compete in the playoffs, you're going to have to do other things besides run your double wing, because I'll tell you, teams are going to get tougher when they get into that postseason.
The Notre Vista quarterback is Seth Vasquez, not Daniel Gonzalez. They went with the signal caller change, and he was buried by Eduardo Estrada of La Sierra. The senior defensive end makes the stop for the Eagles. Estrada, number 54, comes off the bench for La Sierra. Only 7 tackles all year, but he has been involved so far in the third quarter. Here's Elaine. He has 1 to beat as he cuts back at the 15, slips a tackle at the 10. It's too easy for Elaine. His 5th touchdown of the night, and the Braves are piling it on here in the third quarter. And to his credit, he goes directly to Brandon Vo, the La Sierra cornerback, and gives him a high five first. I mean, scoring your 5th touchdown of the night, it's very easy to get full of yourself. I mean, that was a class act for Eddie Elaine. As Salcedo checks in. Good hold from Jurado, and he drills it yet again. He remains perfect this year on PATs, and Notre Vista has taken a 42-0 lead here early in the third quarter. That was a magnificent touchdown for Eddie Elaine.
Diving in over the end zone. This magnificent sophomore.
Eddie Elaine, 5 touchdowns tonight, 20 this year, and 43 so far in his incredible career. Over 2 a week for Eddie Elaine. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
It's a pretty good stat line.
Do they have somewhere on there the scoring record or touchdown record? Because that's got to be up for grabs tonight. 5 rushing touchdowns for the running back Eddie Elaine of Notre Vista.
I'm not too sure, because I'll tell you what, Malesio, when he run for 573 yards, I think that...
It sounds like a lot of touchdowns. Taken at the 8-yard line on a hop, Brandon Vo on the return for La Sierra. He jogs out at the 20.
Well, he could get it. 8 touchdowns for Eric Malesio. 56 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, for a career. For a season, somebody scored 56?
Yes, that was...
Wow.
He had the 4th highest total yards in the history of high school football. The history, not California. Yeah. The history. Football's been around a long time.
Yeah.
You run 4,459 yards in a season. That looks like a typo.
4,459. I mean, who knows if they played any more than 10 games or 11, 12 games back then.
They played 14. They went to the CIF finals, but still.
Right. No, I'm saying like back in the day, like some of these records, those were broken in like 10 games? How many games did they play back in
the olden days?
Yeah, the olden days.
The olden days, like in the 80s.
Like when Bishop in 94. And
you were the olden days.
Olden days, back when Ken Batdorf was head coach.
Ken Batdorf was just starting out here.
Oh, man. Jet sweep to begin this next drive. Ethan Araujo. And some of these ball carriers, poor ball carriers. Notre Vista is playing this game as if they're competing for a CIF championship right now. That defensive line is rough and tough, and they are moving the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, like I said, Coach Batdorf knows his team's going to be in the playoffs. It's just where they will be seated, and that will be important. The toughest thing, like I said, for his guys, when you're up, 42-0, is do you play your starters to get them in shape for the playoffs? Because a lot of the teams that Notre Vista will play in the playoffs, their starters will have played 48 minutes. Ken's teams won't have to play that many minutes, so you wonder if they're going to be physically, mentally prepared to play these playoff games when it's a tight game.
14-yard completion from Justin Esquivel to Humberto Jara. We see starters still in on both clubs with the Braves up 42-0. It's been an excellent performance from starter Eddie Alain. We'll see how much longer he goes. I mean, talking to Ken Battendorf, he sees, I'm sure he doesn't even know that Malacio has the touchdown record for the school with 8 for a single game. And as this throw intended for Vo is nearly picked off by Micah Gaines, incomplete. Even if he was told that Alain is nearing the rushing touchdown record, he may still bench him in the fourth quarter. I mean, this guy is that much in tune with winning a championship over getting some of these stats.
Well, I'll tell you what, you play your starters for as long as you can before it really gets out of hand. And right now, up 42-0, maybe pull them after, as soon as possible. You don't want guys getting hurt at this time of year, and let some of those younger players get the action that they haven't seen. But so far we have a stopped clock.
Blitz for the Braves. Esquivel's throw is dropped by Brandon Vo. Gaines was beat on the play. And this brings up a dilemma moving forward, because last week we saw Hillcrest, with the exception of the 2 interceptions, move the ball relatively efficiently against that secondary. And tonight, Justin Esquivel, I know we are figuring out a way to nitpick here. They're up 42-0, but that secondary, there is some room to improve.
Yes, and that really was the only downside I saw for the Braves. And it wasn't the entire game. It was just a select few plays. But you've got to shore up your defense if you do want to compete for ACIF championship.
Yeah, hard to believe a defense giving up a league best 10 points per game has room to improve. But on 3rd down and 10, the Braves look to make a stop with 9:07 to go in the third quarter. And we may have a delay of game. Yes, we do, against La Sierra. Eagles working on a new quarterback. Last year we saw Bryce Pop as the signal caller for them, and he struggled in this meeting last year between Notre Vista and La Sierra. But the Eagles now have a youngster back there, Justin Esquivel, and he has so far today been very impressive. Against the blitz, he unloads the pass over the head of Jara, intercepted by Buddy Wilson. He has a convoy at the 40. He outruns the convoy and is spun down at the 37. And Esquivel, as soon as I rave about his passing prowess today, he throws his second interception, which wipes out some of the momentum they garnered to begin that drive. Yeah, Esquivel, and that is the issue for the quarterback today. He had maybe a second and a half. He orchestrated a one-step drop and still had pressure in his face. And Wilson records the interception for Notre Vista. That's his second of the year. The penalty was tacked on to the end of the return from Buddy Wilson, as the Braves defense has recorded 6 picks this year, and 4 of them have occurred in the last 4 quarters, which sets up Notre Vista in the red zone. Let's see how the Braves orchestrate this red zone drive. Albert Gonzalez, number 10, is the fullback. Eddie Alain is the running back. Fresh off his 5th touchdown scamper on the previous drive for Notre Vista. The Braves set up shop at the La Sierra 17. Gonzalez on a bootleg is hit as he throws. Short, intended for Isaac Gaines, incomplete. Brandon Vo, a 5'6" cornerback and wide receiver, was on La Sierra coverage on first down. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorham, glad you're with us. River Valley League matchup midway through conference play. Notre Vista coming in 6-1, La Sierra 2-5. Koshborough motion. Gonzalez fakes the toss to Alain and hands to Albert Gonzalez. He is spilled quickly. David Campos on the stop. And yes, for those of you just joining us, the Braves up 42-0 have been led by 5 rushing touchdowns by Eddie Alain. Now Seth Vasquez, number 9, checks in as the backup quarterback for Notre Vista, but Elaine remains into the game. 3rd down and 10, toss to Elaine. He's at the 15, turns the corner at the 10, and is drilled out of bounds late with a penalty flag. Nathan Torres shoves him late, and there's some frustration creeping in for this football team.
Yeah.
And Eddie Elaine may have been he may have been stopped short. Indeed he was, as we look at the replay. I mean, if a level-headed Torres were to be told that they had stopped Elaine short of the first down, I'm sure he wouldn't have made that decision. But due to penalty, Notre Vista sets up with 1st and goal. Roberto Rodriguez is the fullback. He checks in just behind the quarterback. Toss to Joseph Lucky. And he may have been stopped short. Excellent play by Alex Perez. Indeed, the Eagles make the goal line stop on 1st down. As Elaine checks back into the game, I'm sure he wants another rushing scamper, and Lucky checks out. I mean, the competitor in you certainly wants that touchdown, don't you? Sniffing the end zone this close. 2nd and goal, midway through the 3rd quarter. Eddie Elaine has 5 rushing scores, but he watches Albert Gonzalez on a fullback dive. He crosses the goal line and puts Notre Vista back on the board. Touchdown Braves. Salcedo knocks through the extra point. 49-0 Notre Vista. Incredible drive orchestrated largely by Eddie Elaine. I'm sure he's kicking himself a bit that his touchdown he certainly wanted there in the red zone was given to fullback Roberto Rodriguez. La Sierra hung in defensively, forced a couple Notre Vista stops in the first half, but the Braves have got all sorts of momentum now. They're up 49-0.
Yeah, they've played a pretty clean ball game. I mean, very few penalties called tonight. Now up 49-0. I'm sure we're going to have a running clock here soon. You know, and that really prevents injuries, and try not to have the score.
Kickoff bounces out of bounds. I mean, here's the tough thing as well for La Sierra, working with a shorter roster. Injuries have hampered them so far in the season. They don't really have a true home game either. So it's hard really to get that continuity, am I right?
Yeah, it's tough, and this is, you know, really the last home game for Notre Vista. And, you know, like I said, La Sierra, this is their home field. They're playing on the other side of the field this time. But it's just an awkward situation. These teams really, you'd ideally like to have their home stadiums, but they just don't. There isn't enough room at Hillcrest. There isn't enough room at La Sierra. So really their only place they can play here is Zach Erb Stadium.
And the Eagles have so far, especially early in the year, have impressed many with already 2 shutout wins this season. 27-0 to Paris, 42-0 to San Bernardino, as a Squivel's pass sails outside the reach of wide receiver Devin Coleman. Meanwhile, let's shift our attention, at least for a moment, to the Inland Valley. That will be the conference on display tomorrow night. Riverside TV's doubleheader, as on Saturday, kickoff at 7 p.m., the 3-4 Riverside Poly Bears tangle the Lancers of Lakeside out of Lake Elsinore, California. In the Inland Valley, it's tough. I mean, JW North right now has a sizable lead over Canyon Springs, so they may be 3-0, joined by Orange Vista. But Poly is 1-1, as is Canyon Springs right now, in the middle of that Inland Valley Conference, which we will look at tomorrow.
And I tell you what, I think Riverside Poly has a really good shot of making the playoffs. I think it's going to come down to North and Orange Vista next week.
Squivel throws a wobbly pass, incomplete. And, I mean, Riverside Pauley has had their fair share of coaches under recent years. I'm in no relation to the head man there, John Rice, but, I mean, he's got championship pedigrees. I mean, he was a part of that championship run for St. John Bosco a few years ago, and he joins Riverside Pauley and has quickly turned around that program.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, they've bought in. You know, I think last year's coach at Riverside Pauley, you know, brought in Coach Rice, and I'll tell you what, the continuity is the same as it was last year. You just bring in, they've worked hard in the offseason. They are a much improved program, and I do think that Pauley, Orange Vista, there's too many of these citrus name schools, Orange Vista, and I think Pauley has a shot to get one of those two schools. I really think it's wide open still, but North right now with that great Venancio Mekaele, who's a great running back.
Yeah, we saw him earlier this year.
He is fun to watch. Can't wait to see him next week in action.
As that'll be another game on Riverside TV. As we wind down the regular season, a Squivel against the four-man rush, dumps underneath to Araujo on 3rd down and 10. And he motors for 3 yards. The stop up front by Dustin Jameson. We haven't heard of his name much tonight. He is the star defensive end, a senior, with 40 tackles and 2 sacks this season for the Notre Vista Braves. Midway through the 3rd quarter, the Braves with 7 touchdown drives, 5 scoring runs from their running back, Eddie Elaine, fullback with 1 of them on the previous possession, and Roberto Rodriguez in the 78-yard touchdown toss from receiver Buddy Wilson to quarterback Daniel Gonzalez. La Sierra on 4th and 7 will bring out the punt unit. Chris Darris is back there, a senior special teamer. Low snap. Darris gets rid of it again. Powerful punt. His last boot netted 55 yards. This may not go quite the distance of his previous effort, but it's still a very strong boot for Darris. A listed punt of 36 yards down by Brandon Vo. And midway through the 3rd quarter, Notre Vista on their way to a 7-1 start on the season. Leads big over La Sierra.
It looks like they are going to bring in some of these reserves here in the 3rd quarter. A lot of seniors in that lineup right now for the Braves.
The running back for Notre Vista is a fresh face. He takes the toss and surges across the 45-yard line. 12 yards and a 1st down for the Braves.
And it's getting kind of out of hand here. Tempers are starting to flare a little bit.
That's a 1st down for Notre Vista, as the linebacker and fullback Oscar Godoy has gotten involved for a Notre Vista club which leaned in the first half on the services of Eddie Elaine, but he may be done tonight, which is important for the Braves that he remains fresh and healthy for what they hope is a playoff run. As Notre Vista concludes the season with 2 straight on Friday night, the 25th at 7 against the Jaguars, a much improved Arupa Valley. Then the regular season finale against the Patriot Warriors, who currently lead the Arupa Valley Jaguars in that conference affair, 9-7. That will be the team in which the Braves conclude the regular season against. Then opponents, times, dates, we await in a couple weeks. There's a look at Notre Vista and that excellent coaching staff. Game faces throughout, up 49-0 for the Braves. 2nd down and 3. Vasquez, the reserve quarterback, tosses to his fullback. And Garcia moves the chains. A gain of 11. Perez makes the stop for La Sierra. In taking a look at this conference, if the scores that are currently in place across the league are complete tonight, you're looking at this conference. Of course, Notre Vista is 3-0. Then the only other team with a winning league record, as we see Garcia break a tackle, and he is one stop away, and indeed he outruns everyone for another touchdown. This could be coming back, however. With that being said, Notre Vista would be 3-0, and then you're looking at teams with a 2-1 conference record, Hillcrest and Patriot. Those would be the next two teams in the league.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Ramona, who started off so great, Coach Mashinsky does a great job for the Rams, started off 5-0, have dropped a couple, but we've seen how good Hillcrest is. We've seen how good Norte Vista is. And I think when it's all said and done, I think Ramona probably gets third place unless Patriot can take care of business. And then I think it's going to play out with Norte Vista winning the league and Hillcrest a close second.
Yeah, Ramona got off to just such a flying start at 5-0. It's got to be a bit frustrating to see this team suffer those tough losses. But as long as you get into the playoffs, I mean, it's the funny thing about football. Anybody can win at any time. And these are some learning lessons that Ramona could take away over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, with Ramona's in a situation where they can still do very well in the CIF playoffs. Like I said, all of these teams are in different divisions, so these teams won't play each other in a playoff. Ramona has a good shot. I'll tell you what, they played a great preseason schedule. They were in a very tough league. If they can get in that playoff spot, they have a chance to do some big-time damage.
Unfortunately, we will not see, at least at the moment, we don't have scheduled Ramona to play in the regular season on Riverside TV, but we'll take a look at across this conference teams down the stretch here, such as, in a couple weeks in the Inland Valley, and Arlington plays Notre Dame. We'll see that. A doubleheader, JW North tangles Riverside Pauley, and those are just the high school games as Elaine is back in at running back, and Torres shoves him out after a gain of 15. We've got plenty of football left to go in the regular season with the coverage on Riverside TV. And it begins tomorrow. Riverside Pauley tangles Lakeside with the kickoff at 7 p.m. Eddie Elaine on 1st and 17 for a team that in La Sierra knows he's going to run the ball, has done just a marvelous job. In the game, a heated third quarter with the two teams. Elaine is back out. Spelled by Roberto Rodriguez at fullback. Vasquez, the quarterback for Notre Vista. The snap, a toss. Kosh Merle squeezes through a hole and gains a couple on first down. Senior's second carry of the season. We haven't heard much of two other Notre Vista runners in Jesse Carvajal and Jesus Gonzalez. I mean, the Braves, Elaine has been great, but this team is more than just Elaine, especially running the ball.
Yeah, they're deep. I mean, they're 3 and 4 deep at running back. But when you have a dynamic player like Elaine and is so freely able to get up the field, kind of tough to play those other guys when the guy is in such a great zone.
Yeah, they've figured out a way so far today, especially in the third quarter, to implement other running backs for Notre Vista. Roberto Rodriguez scored the touchdown on the previous drive. And the Braves set up with 3rd and short inside the red zone. Vasquez fakes a toss outside and moves the chains. Another late penalty flag has been thrown on the run from Rodriguez.
And that's a face mask on the Eagles.
This will certainly boost some of the statistics for Notre Vista. I mean, this offense just incredible. They're rolling into the playoffs, scoring over 30 a game, holding their opponents to now under 10 a game. Just an incredible season for this team that's played some very good opponents. Roberto Rodriguez strolls in. La Sierra didn't get a hand on him. Touchdown, Notre Vista. His third rushing score of the season. Fernando Salcedo's gotten a season's worth of point after try attempts, it seems, so far today. And that extra point is good. We'll get another look at that La Sierra offense, it appears, in just a few moments. It wasn't too long ago, Jeff, that La Sierra held their own against Notre Vista in this series. As we take a look at that last scoring drive, Roberto Rodriguez capped it off, but the Eagles have just struggled tonight.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, it really is. You got to feel for the La Sierra kids because they are playing so hard. They've done well offensively, but when you have that offensive line that is so huge and strong for the Braves, it just makes it virtually tough, and you got to go against that line the entire game. It's going to wear you down, and we've seen it, but the aerial display we've seen from La Sierra has been pretty good, though.
Yeah, pretty solid for La Sierra in spots. The Eagles bring out the return team. Here's Salcedo again, and his kickoff, a line drive, is taken on a hop at the 10-yard line by Vo, who then runs out of bounds at the 21. And looking at the, there's a shoe for Brandon Vo, and looking at the playoff teams from last year, 4 of them this season. I mean, the top 3 teams in this conference after tonight, most likely Notre Vista, Hillcrest, and Patriot. Most likely those teams get in. The Warriors have really stunned me. They have played well, outscoring conference opponents by coming into this game over 30, so they have been a stellar bunch, the Patriot Warriors. And then if there's 4 playoff spots, Ramona, Jurupa Valley, and La Sierra would be the bottom 3 teams vying for maybe 1 playoff spot the way it panned out last year.
Yeah, and it really could do the same thing this year. Like I said, with all these teams in different divisions, they could take 4 from the River Valley League.
Yeah, certainly we have to wait and see. Araujo is stuffed. As Notre Vista running back Eddie Elaine scored 4 touchdowns to start the game. Wilson launched a 78-yard scoring toss. The wide receiver did to quarterback Daniel Gonzalez. 35-0 at the half. Elaine scored once. Then Rodriguez scored twice. And we're at 56-0 now late in the third quarter. Nick Rice, Jeff Gorham on hand. Notre Vista and La Sierra in a conference tilt at Zach Erp Stadium, which, as you mentioned to me a couple weeks ago, Zach Erp is, isn't he
the great-great-grandson of Wyatt Earp?
And I meant to ask you, who is that?
Who is
Wyatt Earp?
Wait, whoa.
Oh, no. Guys, let's go ahead and cut his mic off before he says what he means right now.
You don't know who Wyatt Earp is? Oh, my golly. All right, okay, this is what you need to do tomorrow.
Okay.
You need to go home.
I'll be with you tomorrow.
Okay, I want you to watch a movie called Tombstone.
Tombstone, okay.
Yes, I want you to go home. It's on all the time. I guarantee if you go home and you put it on demand, you'll find Tombstone. And then tomorrow it'll be like a book report, a movie report. You got to watch Tombstone. Wyatt Earp, come on, he's the best lawman ever in the history of the Western.
Guys, please do not, don't throttle me in the comments, please.
No, please do.
What?
Nick Rice does not know who Wyatt Earp is.
Oh, here he is proclaiming to the world.
Oh. Everybody in the press box is looking at you like, what is wrong with you? Did you take a history class in high school? Wyatt Wyatt Earp, come on, the OK Corral. Have you ever heard of the OK Corral?
Yeah.
The fight at the OK Corral? Oh, my golly.
Oh, no.
Man,
am I too far gone here?
Yeah, I think really, honestly, I'm going to kick you out of the booth. I think everybody in the truck is going to kick you out of the booth. All of the cameramen are going to never look at you again because you don't know who Wyatt Earp is. Well, anyway, Zach Earp, the stadium is named after.
Am I going to be allowed into the building tomorrow?
No, you're not.
Okay. Good enough.
I will say this. Zach Earp, who the stadium is named after, was a campus supervisor, then went on to get his teaching credential, became a teacher, then became a high school teacher. I think he was elementary, became a high school teacher, then became a principal, then became a superintendent. He started off as a classified worker and worked his way up to superintendent, which is pretty incredible. I mean,
yeah.
So not only you know who Zach Earp is, but you don't know who Wyatt Earp is. So Zach Earp is the most famous in his family right now, according to you, but really it's Wyatt Earp, the greatest lawman in the history of the Old West. Oh, my golly. Nick Rice, what am I going to do with you?
Oh, man.
No, we're gonna censor you. You're not gonna be allowed to talk.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who Wyatt Earp is. So tonight you're gonna go home and you're gonna watch Tombstone. And I don't care if it's 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. I want a text from you saying you saw it, and then you'll know everything about. Do you know who Doc Holliday is?
No, please, don't do this to me.
You don't know who Doc.
Don't do this to me.
You said you were a nerd. You don't know who Doc Holliday is.
You know my answer to these questions.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Okay, this will be something that the fans at home know, but I'm going to say this to you. You are my Huckleberry. See?
Huckleberry.
Yes.
Okay.
You're my Huckleberry.
Huckleberry Finn.
See? No. It's not Huck Finn. Huckleberry. You are my Huckleberry. That is from Tombstone. That is something that
is that a term for like a protege or something?
No, never mind. Just watch Tombstone, and people leave the comments, the fine comments for Nick Rice, who doesn't know who Wyatt Earp is, or Doc Holliday, or the fight at the OK Corral. I'm a little concerned about you, my friend. You've never seen a Marvel movie. You don't know who Wyatt Earp is. I want to spend a day behind the scenes with Nick
I'm gonna
Rice.
Be at training camp tomorrow. Oh man!
Do you know who Billy the Kid is?
I've heard of him.
Do you know who William H. Bonney is? That would be Billy the Kid. Oh, see, never mind. Forget it.
Oh man! I can't even say anything right now.
You've never seen a Marvel movie. I just want to know what you do.
I'm in the doghouse right now.
Are you a robot, as they would say? Because man. A robot. Nick Rice, the robot. You got.
Well, even a robot would know these things.
I'm sure
like Alexa,
would.
I'm sure if you ask.
Okay, do you have Alexa at home?
I don't.
How do you not have Alexa?
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, that's come on.
No, you're high tech. You're a nerd. You said.
Yeah,
you don't even,
I'm a nerd for real.
What are you a nerd for, though? You don't. I mean. You don't watch comic book movies?
What?
Yeah, I mean, you're not a nerd because you don't watch comic book movies. You don't watch Star Wars movies.
No.
You don't know westerns.
Now I'm pretty hip on the Disney stuff. I mean, I watched.
Do you know who Jesse James is?
Yeah.
Who's Jesse James?
Spider-Man, right? No. No. What? Jesse James, right? He's involved in Riverside, though. I know that. I know.
You know what? Where is your passion bucket for your nerdliness? You don't even know who Jesse James is.
No, I mean I know he was. There's another Jesse James who's on the Steelers. No, that's not the same thing.
No. Were you seriously? What part of American history did you ever pay attention to in high school?
What we learned about, the Louisiana Purchase and stuff like that. I don't know what history class you're teaching there, and you're a teacher yourself.
How do you not know who Jesse James is or Billy the Kid? I mean, these are from people in the truck are asking me to ask you. We're gonna.
Oh no! Look at you. Your thing's blowing up right now.
Oh, man alive.
No. Guys, can we cut like 10 minutes off this fourth quarter clock?
No, we're gonna quiz you on American heroes and see how many you know.
No.
Guys in the truck, if you can think of other names, let me know. Send them to me. We're going to ask Nick. As we got Novi up 56 to nothing.
Here we go. Oh, excellent run again. This time, excellent pursuit on the outside from David Zubia of La Sierra. The Braves had one touchdown run wiped off by way of penalty. Oh no, it turns out this penalty flag is on me.
And it's well deserved.
It's well deserved. Oh no, that touchdown's wiped off the board. As Jamal, sophomore running back, is getting some playing time. Certainly a good sight to see for Notre Vista as they iron out some of the kinks. Isaiah Jamal in hopes of first seed in the Division 10 playoffs.
All right, I have another one for you.
Oh
no. All right. If you've heard of Mount Rushmore, have you not?
I have heard around one. All right, go ahead.
All right, give me the 4 heads on Mount Rushmore. Give me 1 head on Mount Rushmore.
All right, something. I know. I know Washington.
Which Washington?
Ah, dang it. George, right?
Yeah. Well,
all right, there you go.
Yes.
All right, here's Jamal. Hold on, first to give me a moment of relief here. Jamal scores, a sophomore running back. That's a 53-yard touchdown for Notre Vista. Braves have got 62 on the board. Okay. George Washington.
Okay, that's 1. You've got 1 on Mount Rushmore.
Theodore Roosevelt.
All right, you're good there.
All right.
There's 2.
Abraham Lincoln.
There's 3.
Okay, all right, good. And then the 4th is oh man.
Thomas.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, I'm embarrassed.
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. All right, there you go. I got 3 or 4. That's a C.
Pretty good.
That's a C, teacher. High snap. Gerardo out towards Salcedo. Here's the kicker. Wow, the kicker's diving towards the pylon. And even the place kicker has found the end zone. 2-point conversion successful for the Notre Vista Braves on a bad snap. And Fernando Salcedo joins the Mount Rushmore of Notre Vista touchdown scorers tonight.
I like that. Good
Okay,
segue.
all right.
Good job.
All right, cool. The quarterback, Daniel Gonzalez, the running back, Eddie Alain, and the fullback, Roberto Rodriguez.
Okay. Who was born in Ulysses S. Grant's tomb?
Okay, come on. How does this? These are some of the questions you get on the history test. That
Okay.
Just, come on.
Okay, well, who's buried in Grant's tomb?
I couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell me he was buried in Grant's tomb?
Well, I thought I got out of the dog pound because I answered C amount of Mount Rushmore.
Well, I'm going to throw it on you, and you're going to be really upset. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Grant.
Oh, my gosh. Well, excuse me for being the punching bag of the night.
Oh, no, you're not. You really aren't.
Whoever's my history teacher, that's the one getting the punishment.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Because I didn't go to Ramona High School. I didn't get the type of grade A teaching that Jeff Gorham provides.
Oh, you're the best.
I'm going to enjoy these next 7 minutes because after that, I don't know if I'm going to be employed after that.
No, you're not going to be on Jeopardy. That's for sure. There's no Jeopardy.
Geez, I know.
Okay. Here's another one here. This is from the truck.
Oh no.
Okay, ready? What weighs more, 1 ton of feathers or 1 ton of bricks?
Yeah, they're the same. Who asked that question? Who asked that question? I want to know. Was it Patrick?
Yeah, somebody is.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, this is great.
All right, now they're going to ask me what 2 + 2 is. All right.
Maybe you're good at math. Are you good at math?
Yeah, I'm good at math, yeah.
I hope so. You said you were a nerd. There's got to be something you're a nerd of.
Yikes. Well, I'm a big fat liar. That's what we've discovered tonight.
Man.
Oh, my gosh.
Wyatt Earp.
The fans here at Zach Earp Stadium, they're not looking at the game anymore.
No, they're looking up here at us, and they want to hear more of this the quiz show.
Squibell, the quarterback keeper.
We have a running clock, though, which is...
Oh, man. Graciously. Oh, my gosh.
You're starting to sweat, I see.
Yeah, I'm sweating. But that was fun, you know. Well, fun for you.
What are you talking about? Girls are going to find that endearing.
What girl?
Somebody a smart girl. She's going to go, wow.
A project.
I can read him history books.
Oh, man.
We can go out on dates and go to the library and read history books.
Oh, no. Esquivel is hobbling off the field. Their quarterback. And we saw Humberto Jara take snaps as the signal caller when Esquivel was last out of the game. Their shutout win over Paris.
We do have a lot of cheerleaders there tonight. We have the junior cheerleaders for Norte Vista. It appears to be a bunch of tiny people with the larger people.
No, not everybody is 6'8".
Nope.
But Justin Esquivel, 5'10", 210. Not too many are built like that at quarterback as well, but he's out for La Sierra. And so is my job security. That's also out for the remainder of this year.
Timeout on. You know what? Let's revisit the.
Oh my gosh!
No, let's revisit the Day of the Dead.
Okay.
Woo! Let's get you. We won't mess with you anymore for the next minute and a half or so. But don't forget, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, returns Saturday, November 2nd at White Park in downtown Riverside from 1 to 10 p.m. The 16th annual anniversary of this traditional Mexican festival is held to celebrate with food, art, music, dance, and most importantly, the beautifully decorated personalized altars honoring loved ones that have passed. For more information, call 951-784-3111 or visit riversidedayofthedead.com. A great time. Maybe you can go check that out and you can learn a little bit of history. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's sports. This is a sports one. You'll get this one.
Good.
All right. What two sports and teams did Bo Jackson play for? What two sports and teams did Bo Jackson play for?
NFL Oakland A's,
Nope.
MLB,
Okay,
Oakland Raiders.
Okay,
Sorry.
Okay, you almost failed again.
Almost failed. Yikes.
Okay, the Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders,
And?
MLB. Was it Seattle?
No.
No, it was Oakland?
It was Oakland for football and baseball. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
He played for a Southern California team. I'll say this. He hit a home run in the All-Star game out of Anaheim Stadium. That's the only thing I'll give you.
Ah, dang it. This is one of those trick questions. Seth Morgan's the quarterback, folks. And he fires downfield, tipped by Wilson and nearly intercepted, intended for Brandon Vo.
He played in the All-Star game and hit it out of Anaheim Stadium.
This is... Man. This can't be a trick question.
No, I'm just telling you.
It's a question, is it?
Okay, ready? Here we go. I'm going to give you two guesses.
I'm letting you know my age. I'm 24 years old, guys.
Okay. He played for the Kansas City Royals.
Oh, the Royals, okay.
But his last team was a Southern California team, which gives you 3 teams in Southern California.
Definitely not the Padres.
I don't know.
You don't know until I say something.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'll go Dodgers. No?
Okay, no. He played for the Angels. This was his last team, and he had a fake hip when he played. Okay,
I just felt like that was it.
Okay, here's one. Here's one that maybe you might be able to get. I know everybody up here in the booth is going to get it. Who is the former World Series MVP that shares the name as a crew member of our staff. Once again, who is the former World Series MVP that shares the same name as a member of the crew?
I know this sounds bad. I couldn't tell you a single World Series MVP.
What do you mean? Well, let's just go through their guys. Let's just start with our top guy, award-winning director and starter of this, Scott Brocious.
Best last name in all of
Scotty Brocious.
Scott Brocious.
He was MVP for the Yankees. Scotty Brocious.
Scotty Brocious?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you have failed miserably.
Miserably. Let's go ahead and ask this young kid.
Anybody watching tonight, if you're, we've got a minute 50 left here, 64 nothing.
Minute 50. Oh.
Send me, in fact, go to my Twitter, whatever my Twitter is. I think it's Jeffrey Gorham. Go to my Twitter, ask me a question. I'll ask Nick, maybe on the air, maybe off the air, and we will test his knowledge and skill. He got a C- with Mount Rushmore, or C with Mount Rushmore.
Okay, yep.
But you failed miserably at everything else.
Oh, no.
But it was not at the expense of you. It was for just strictly entertainment purposes.
Strictly. Who's getting entertained here?
No,
right.
Everybody at home is entertained because you don't know Wyatt Earp. You didn't know who Billy the Kid was.
Oh man.
All right. Okay, let's see if there's anyone else in the.
Oh no, we don't have enough time for all that.
53 seconds left here.
Well, he's got a laundry list of stuff to ask.
Oh, I'll be asking you tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow. Yep.
Back tomorrow.
Make sure to join us. Who's with us? I'm sideline. You're
Gazal.
And Gazal. Glad to see Gazal tomorrow.
So tomorrow, be
Riverside,
prepared.
Pauley, and Lakeside.
Be prepared. If we asked you a question on the sideline, you're not allowed to look on your phone. You have to just answer it. And we'll give you some prizes if
then
you
again,
answer something.
Oh man, I'm down on the sideline. I might be able to sneak a.
No, because we'll watch you. We'll get video on you.
The Hawk's eye. So, but those of you joining tomorrow before we finish the thrashing, just letting you know, Riverside, Pauley, and Lakeside play tomorrow. The two top quarterbacks in the league duel. John Rice, an excellent former champion at head coach for Riverside Pauley.
Bud Burney, quarterback
James
of Pauley.
Seidler, an excellent coach for Lakeside, is underway as well tomorrow. That is the capper of our doubleheader. So make sure to join us tomorrow as 3 and 4 Riverside Pauley take on the Lancers of Lakeside out of Lake Elsinore, California. Notre Vista winners tonight. The Braves avoid the lapse off the emotional win over Hillcrest as they dismantle La Sierra. The Eagles had a couple red zone trips, couldn't cash it in with points. And La Sierra back to the cutting board. They'll drop to 2-6. Look to rebound against the Ramona Rams next Friday. Notre Vista, meanwhile, improves to 7-1 overall, 3-0 in the league. Jeff, this was a clinic with 5 touchdowns for Elaine and an offense which seemed to just about every series find the end zone.
I'll tell you what, they're playing, as they say, the battle station is fully operational.
Yeah.
Norte Vista is playing well. They're 3-0 in league, and they're going to look to finish off a perfect season with 2 more games in the River Valley League, and I don't see anybody unseating the Braves as they're looking for another River Valley League.
And the 2 on the way down the stretch, Notre Vista at Harupa Valley and the Patriot Warriors in the final 2 weeks of the year. Notre Vista 64-0 over the La Sierra Eagles. For Jeff Gorham and the harassing crew of Riverside TV, Nick Rice saying good night. This has been an edition of Riverside TV's Game of the Week.